Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Nichel Anderson, your host for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. Thank you so much for joining me this week, where this would be for episode 35, entitled, When to Know It Is Time for You to Let It Go. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Thank you so much for joining me for my season 2. I'm very thankful and appreciative that people are tuning into my podcast, which started last year, and I'm moving forward to season 2, my second year. And I'm glad that people are getting the mental peace that they seek, or at least some information that they need to put together and come to a place of higher understanding and a sense of peace and joy. That's my goal. That's my part of my purpose. All right, so let's just get started. So I just want to go ahead and say, in this day, I'm thankful to the prime creator of all things, that I give thanks for this blessing and opportunity, that I will use it for the greater good. So welcome, my survivors of the journey, to my podcast that aims to inspire and motivate you, that you will continue to have joy, peace of mind, and for your sustained success. All right, so let's just jump right into it. And today's topic came to me during my summer break of 2018, when to know it is time for you to let it go. And I'm talking about things that in your life that you're struggling with, that's holding you to the misery. All right. At the end of the day, that's basically what it is misery. And something came to me when I planned to record this that is off script, but it came to me in a realization that, and I'm talking from the perspective, this episode would be mainly from the perspective of the person going through the trauma, mainly due to maybe someone else or maybe something. It could be your career or the job. I'm talking on that perspective. Now, on the flip side of that, the person is actually doing it, so forth, and won't stop. I know I have some other episodes that they can tune into for that that I already did, or they can listen to it in a sense that you're hurting not only yourself but the other person. So the person has to let go, so therefore it's going to come back to you of the pain. But let me move forward of what just came to me. And I feel some people actually want to get connected, and I know it's hard to acknowledge that that's true, but I really do believe it. Want you to get connected so your heart can be in it, because on some level they already know that once your heart in it, it's hard to peel off and hard to let go. And it's more, and then it turns into a control mechanism that they use to keep you attached to them, when really the loving thing is to admit that you really wasn't in it from the get-go, and the person should never have stayed longer than they should. And so they struggle with that. And it's hard to find support when you still in something and people say you should do this and you should do that, or why are you doing that? Well, it's hard to do because your heart is in it. And it's kind of put it to me as if that it's very difficult to be able to disengage when you love something or you love someone, and it becomes a battle of your mind and your heart. And while the other person is just living the breeze, they just having a good old time, because some people like misery because they're miserable. And so this episode, I just want to kind of break that to you, to see that sometimes it is intentional, only on the sense that the person that's doing it hasn't really sat down and looked at they should let go their foolishness. And even if it's in the career and you have to deal with different people, they do things, and maybe it's not the same as a personal relationship, but they do things knowing that you need to be there, or you need this, so you are put up with the nonsense. And so it's hard. So this episode is based on helping you to get stronger, helping your heart to know it is time to let it go. And it's not easy, because your heart still want it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started into this. Let's move on to my important point. All right, so my important point I want to say is letting go of something or someone is a process in itself. And over time, you will be a master, okay? You'll have mastery over this over time while you're on your journey. The very best of us can get stuck, confused, and uncertain. And worse, doubt. Doubt your ability that you can do better. Doubt your ability that nothing will change. Doubt your ability of your value, okay? And to let something go to a point that is toxic, all right? And just you have to identify and come to the terms that it's just not a right fit in your now on your journey of life that includes your career and personal life. That's my important point. And I kind of had a lot of more points that I just mentioned, but that's the takeaway, right? Now, let's move to my wisdom point. When we value ourselves in regard to our true worth, we undoubtedly love ourselves in the best healthy capacity that brings us into a plateau of joy and mental peace. Over the time of your journey, we learn and do things that can teach us things, right? And the most important thing that we seek as humans is to be loved. To be loved is to be appreciated, to be respected, to bring mental peace. Anything else is toxic, pretty much. And we want to do as such by removing those things and people that no longer fit in your happiness. Okay, that's the wisdom point. Now, why is this so? Well, let me go ahead and jump into that. And so, why basically means that why does this happen in regards to not able to let something go, like your career? Maybe you want to stay there because it could be financial, or it could just be the prestige. It could be, several reasons. It's close to your home. I don't know. At the end of the day, you know that answer, okay? But at any rate, one of the purpose of life is to love and to know thyself and to love another. However, in the world that's mixed up with other people's right to choose can create the chaos and the confusion, because in the beginning, what was said by the other changed, and from what they said they would do, how they would behave, or what you will receive in return of giving your all, which is basically, like I said in the beginning of this episode, that I realized that to give your heart. Okay, they doing all those nice things and saying this and that and doing that. You get your heart in it. Okay, this is deep. And I need you to replay this episode 7 times. You need to replay it. You need to listen to it, because you need to get it and understand it, so you can learn from it and get some more knowledge of that experience of what you went through. So going forward, you're able to process this and move on. And I think the whole purpose of this podcast, and I'm passionate about it, and I do it weekly for this year, which I have decided next year, since we'll be working on other things, to change the frequency of it, probably 2 times a month. And I know I'm jumping ahead of myself, but just to share that with you. But all in all, I'm passionate about it because I want you to find your peace, just like I deserve to have peace. And it came to me. I'm going to fight for it to the end of time, because I deserve it and you deserve it. And so that's what these podcasts are for, is to help you to survive. All right. Everybody deserves joy, but you got to earn it. And if you earn it, you have the right to identify the things that are keeping you from it. Okay. All right. So anyhow, moving forward. And so you were not notified initially after your heart got sealed to the deal, attached to someone or to something. And in our careers, we seek appreciation and acceptance and value for the job that you do. And in our relationships, we want to be devoted. We want to have a devoted type relationship, okay? A healthy, loving relationship with the other person. But in choices, in the world of choices, there are imbalances to reach this, because the other person is not being upfront, okay? Or the expectations of what you thought you was going to receive on the job completely changed once you got in there. How do people do it? They do it. Okay, so who are we really talking about? Well, people that are stuck in their career to nowhere, but they hold on anyway, and it's time for them to look at some people get comfortable with the regularity of something and don't want to change. Change is scary. Change is the unknown, and most humans want to know. And when they don't know something, fear creeps in, right? Mr. Fear, he comes in, man, faster than a cheetah. He comes in your life and make you be too afraid to ask questions, too afraid to do anything. And so we don't feel sure of ourselves, and to move on and to get somewhere that's better. So we get really comfortable pretty much in the now. And Mr. Fear will park right outside next to you like it's nobody business, want to be a Siamese trend, and to not even think of another possibility. This also is key in the relationship. People hold on to the relationship because that doubt comes in, and your feelings are already hurt because you with someone that flipped the script, did a 360 turn on you. I came up with that term when I did my productions, my theatrical productions, and then I had a team of actors or what have you, and other people on the crew, and dealing in that business and how they would just flip the script once they got on the team. I mean, they will flip. Some of them did a 720. I mean, it's just crazy. But at any rate, that's basically what you're dealing with. So it takes courage and effective planning to execute a moving forward to a new job, to a new company, into a new life that could lead to a new healthy relationship. It is a risk. That's why most people stay. They don't let go. So now the other one on that to mention about the personal connections, it runs deeper than when you're tied to a job because it mirrors our childhood repetitive behaviors and not being cared for, where a lot of misstatements and assumptions were assumed, okay, to the point that the other person kind of mirrors that in your life. So you either hold on to it or you try to, in some subconscious way, try to balance it out and heal it. Mainly with the person that didn't initiate it, he just repeating some of those. He or she is repeating some of those behaviors into your now, right? So it is a hard type attachment, and that seals like tar to the other person or the other thing. It requires persistent care, and it requires a wake-up check to disengage, but you have to do it in a very calm way. So those are the who, the people that experience what I just said. Now the what are some things that can happen when we do not let go? Well, a lot of hurt feelings, okay? And what's significant you need to take away from this podcast, it is diminishing, it is reducing your self-value when you hold on to something and it is not mentally, spiritually, physically healthy. It's detrimental to your well-being and getting and sustaining joy and mental peace. We can't stay in a toxic connection too long before our minds start to reject and go haywire. Most of the time in a negative way, in either our career or relationships, right? So you have to steer clear from those bad choices or the people that make the bad choices and you're in it. Okay, that is not in the placement to the good of light. Okay, an enormous amount of stress will endure inside of us, both unknowing and knowing, that shows up. That's why you start to get those skin discoloration, pimples or whatever, or acne or whatever. I didn't really think that was true. And I did research and they said, yeah, that's true. But when you think about that, the lost appetite, you don't want to eat, or your body's constantly under duress because of the stress. Mr. Fear know. That's why he's sitting right there. He feeding off of that. He know. Oh, he know. And he just feeding off that. Because you still being in that mess and your body is taking the toll. That's because you think everything going normal on the outside, but in the inside your body is in trauma. It is unhealthy all around, all the time. So you have to consider that the truth wants to come out. The truth wants to be free and want to be acknowledged, right? And so now when it's time, not to let go. Let's talk about that because I'm mostly focused previously on to let go. What about when it's time not to let go yet? Well, when the connection shows people are able to change a bit, people can change. It is just identifying those that choose not to do so, and worse, put on a fake mask that they are, just waiting for a moment to change up again and do it like I say. And you're going to use this term too, a 360 on you. Okay? Not a half turn, not a quarter of a turn, a full turn in the wrong direction after you sat there and say, okay, I'm going to let you back in my life and we're going to make this work. When you should just let go and move on. But again, it is difficult. Okay? So after you told them to stop and they do a 360 and go back and do it, and that's when it has to be on the table that it's time to let go. So when it's a thing like a job, sometimes management steps up to the plate and they make that change and they be what I consider to be called a prestige leader. Okay? Providing prestige leadership. If you want to know that term that I came up with and what that means, please check my previous podcast shows, especially in season 1. I'm going to continue to talk about this because it's important, because that's what we all need. That's what we nurture. Because with management sets the culture. The culture is the environment. The environment either nurture you or it is toxic and it becomes unhealthy physically, mentally, spiritually. Like a job, sometimes management steps up to the plate and provide that prestige leadership and change to make the job not so stressful and detrimental based on the feedback from employees that told them that this needs to change. And so they make strides and then have a new attitude. Then you can consider to stay. You basically looking for a breakthrough of some degree for mental peace and joy, either in the career or your personal life. All right, so let's now move to strategy to succeed. Number one, take a moment for you and really ask yourself this simple question. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Is this what you envisioned it to be? Your answer alone would tell you whether you need to stay or you need to move on to a new part of your life's journey. Number two, measure your stress so you can be blessed. Okay? Less stress makes you blessed because guess what? You're happy. Okay? Meaning that if your stress levels are constantly out of balance, then you must let it go. You must get into the position to let it go. Because like I said, the heart is not easy. One thing I didn't like when I did confide in people and I was going through struggles in life, they would say, oh, well, just do this. Oh, well, you don't have to worry about that. Well, why are you still doing this? Well, you should just do that. You just cut it off like it's nothing. The heart is like an embodiment of energy that's tied to someone else, and it's not that easy. I mean, it holds on real tight, and it's a process of that. So you have to be patient in the process by using time as the way to go through the phases of your journey to peel off or to peel back from that thing or someone to get to your mental peace, right? To let go, right? It's time. Time is the answer, and you make strides. You don't completely return and do the same thing and keep doing this. You just take steps of backing off and peeling back. So you want to talk it out as well. That's number three. Talk it out as a great way. It's a great way to release the pressure as you decide which path you want to take, to hold on or hold on a little bit or just completely let it go. Right? And when I say hold on a little bit, it's those stages of where you're letting go so your heart can catch up to the mind that, heck, this ain't working out. And it serves you well to your happiness, just to be assured, to trust the person that you decide to talk it out with. And remember, again, our hearts are the last one to let go, and that makes the journey difficult. And you doubt, and you don't want to doubt. You want to continue to say those statements. And find my episode where I talk about self-talk. This is the perfect way to use. That's the perfect tool. Go back to that podcast. I believe it was during the summer. Yes, it's summer 2018. One of the first, I don't know, it was episode bonus 1, summer break 2018. Bonus 1 is called self-talk, the importance of self-talk. That's when you really trying to, you in this mess right here, trying to decide you need to let go, hold on. You need to read that, you need to listen to that podcast every day if you can, to give you the motivation to self-talk your way out of it, to get to the next phase, or pretty much get to what you really want to be at the forefront, at the end of it, to say, I'm ready to let it go. Okay? All right, now your task to Dusk to Dawn is very simple. It's actually going to be one, but here it is. You're going to start visualizing a new you in a happier form by connecting your choices forward to let go, all right, for the now to get you to your tomorrow, which is the future. You can't move forward if you're holding on something that's not good for you. And that's what you got to continue to tell your heart, but you got to be kind to your heart. Okay, you don't yell at it. You don't talk down to it. You don't, and I'm talking about self-talk and saying, well, I'm this and I'm this. No. Okay, you talk positive. You love your heart because that's what your heart was in it for. Love, being appreciative. You didn't get it. Okay, so by doing exercise and also writing out what you feel gives you the best life forward to look at yourself in a new light. Okay, that someone or something, just wasn't giving you what you need, which you was in search of happiness, not unhappiness, with that thing or someone that delivered it to you and had that control of you to still be connected. So next you want a statement of commitment of courage. Commitment of courage is for you to continue to know that you are somebody of worth and to do that self-talk, that in deciding to let go or to hold on right just for right now at this moment, which way ever that you decide will give you the courage to finally say which way you're going to go. And back around to the merry-go-round is not the answer at the end of the day, but you got to put your heart and know that in time your heart will let go because your mind already know what's the deal, okay? And if it don't, it will. So with the knowing that your heart needs time to readjust and your mind to account for lessons of not repeating it, next time give you the strength to move forward. So that's your task to Dawn. So your motivational takeaway is that you can let go to a better you that comforts your needs in a forward way for which life was intended to have balance. You just got to believe it to know it. All right. Thank you. Thank you again for joining me for my podcast episode from my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey to Success, just to give you some information to not only stay in contact, but with the other things that I offer. I provide career consultation, offering the first 30 minutes are free. Thereafter, there is a fee access afterwards per hour and can be discussed on a case-by-case basis, depending on your need. So if it is an emergency and you need some consultation regarding your career or choices that you're about to make moving forward, in a sense, in your personal type objectives, then you can definitely contact me. The primary way to contact me is by email, which is info@nichelanderson.com. Now, I do have a toll-free number on my website. Now, that is actually only for webinars when I'm doing like a free webinar and you're calling in. Once that number is through that medium, and it's only really for that, so it's not really connected to me directly. Now I am working on that, but for right now it's not really, and when that changes you would definitely get a notice of that to go forward. So just to recap, my primary way is info@nichelanderson.com. All right, so the other thing I want to share with you is that I also provide business courses and self-improvement courses. So that overall objective is to help you to create strategies that work for you, to get you motivated, to identify the ways to get your or keep your joy and your mental peace. So I do provide that on the basis of your objective to gain success, and as I like to say, sustain success. You can find information on my courses that I release on my official website, which is www.nichelanderson.com, and you can go there and you can look at the different courses that I am releasing that are available. These courses are self-paced. They will be identified if they're considered to be like live sessions on a regular basis, but for the most part they are self-paced. During that time I do have live sessions that once you have signed up for the course, you will see that in the schedule of what days that I'm available live, that you can talk to me and we can go over the courses going forward, right, on those particular topics. So that information is basically on my website that you can go to, which is nichelanderson.com. Now, I want to do a special call out for listeners that I have seen in my stats that are following me, continue to follow me, which I am thankful for. Now, to get connected more, to stay connected, I'm asking you to consider to join my newsletter that I do send out. And to do that, you just have to submit, of course, your name and your email. I don't spam. You can always request to be taken off the list. I don't send thousands of emails because I don't like thousands of emails from a particular source. So I keep it very in a way that's informative, of course, because obviously you like the content because you hear and you enjoy it and you're getting something from it, which pleases me. To expand that and to move forward and to get into other ways that I can expand what I'm trying to do is to form a newsletter, to get that set up in the sense that I'm communicating that I can send that out more quickly, actually, through a podcast or any type of thing or production that I'm doing, where a newsletter is more, in the sense, faster to get that contact and to send it out on blast, right? And more opportunity to send more content compared to like social media characters to be able to get that message out. So do consider that to join my newsletter by providing, and you can find that link at the end of each episode. I have that link to basically to sign up here for Nichel E-List Tips newsletter. And you could do that and you can see that and click, and it's a short form, online form. It is secured and you can complete that. All right, the other thing I want to talk about is basically to subscribe to this podcast. If you haven't, please go ahead. Of course, this is going through Podbeam. I have 2 podcasts. This one, of course, you're listening to is Surviving Your Journey to Success, and you can subscribe. Of course, you should see the subscribe button here at the bottom of this episode or at the top. whichever device that you're using. Now, I'm also available on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Google Play, on iTunes, and any other podcast directories for feed distribution. You can connect that way and subscribe. And if you like it, share it. Now, I am on social media. And so you do hear me a lot talk about Twitter. I'm mostly active on Twitter. I'm also active on Facebook. For the most part right now is Twitter. And I like the whole concept of keeping it short and sweet. But I'm connecting to people in different parts of the world. And then Facebook, I'm definitely on there as well. And you can connect me with that. So my Twitter handle is basically twitter.com/Nichel Anderson. My Facebook page, facebook.com/Nichel Anderson fan page. My official website, as I mentioned earlier, is nichelanderson.com. That is my official website. It's mainly focusing on self-improvement, motivation, life coaching, leadership courses, things that I really love to help people, what I have learned, and also to connect and to try to create the content in a way that you can feel comfortable about it, open up about the areas where you're struggling at. And it's usually pretty much our career and our personal life. So these self-paced courses give you the opportunity to really think things out, because you got to think about it. In this world, our mind has to be able to process so many things in so little time. And so you're here, you're there, you're everywhere, and you don't really get the opportunity to stop, to think, to react in a way that moves you forward, and to get things done, to get a blueprint. And that's basically the two courses that I recently released, and I will continue to evolve from that and add more courses, of course, or redo some of the courses that I have. And Blueprint for Success is a very good one in the sense of identifying that and moving to a point that you have a plan and that you can move forward. And that's the key. So at any rate, check that out on my official website, and definitely connect with that and share it with somebody else. Now, the other thing I would like to share with you is that, of course, I am an author. And so my very first book that I got published, that I was called to do, it was my purpose, and I see it now. And it's a part of my whole podcast show title. It's called Corporate America, Surviving Your Journey to Success. It is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's available in book form and ebook. Okay, so you can get it at any book retailer in the world that have access to the ISBN for each book. So you can get that, and you can download it, or you can purchase it, or what have you. But go ahead and check out my book, and if you like it, share it. Okay, and so here is my closing statement for you. Be you that strengthens and inspires your ability to be strong in your journey endeavor. It's a good thing towards your mental peace and joy, always to your success.